All right, so kicking off YouTube, second league of the day. Gonna run back some four-color fire shadow. Some of the changes that we made where we dropped the third copy of Inquisition of Kozilek for a third copy of Verdant Catacombs. We found ourselves stuck on one mana a lot, or having one land hands and not seeing the second in time. Also wanted another source that can get all of our green mana. The sideboard replaced the two Abrupt Decays, the two Assassin's Trophies. There's been an uptick in Tron recently, so we're just going to see how it feels with a little bit of extra interaction for those kind of decks. And let's jump into it. But for everybody hanging out today, greatly appreciate everyone. Thanks for coming and checking out the stream. If you're in chat for the first time, feel free to jump in, tell us about yourself, where you're from, what got you into Magic, why Death Shadow is great. Play Deathrite Shaman and you won't have mana problems. That's the big brain move. Like just make your own unbanned list, put Dragon's Rage or Deathrite Shaman in your deck, and good to go. Well, let's find a match. I'm gonna go grab some water real quick, and I'll be right back. Is this the guy you split the challenge with? It is not, but we just played this guy the first match of the last league. He was on Living End. So I could get Stomping Ground here with the assumption that Ragavan's going to hit next turn. And I think I'm going to do that because it gives us our double black for our two hand disruption spells. But it also lets us get something like Watery Grave off of this Catacombs, so we can have all of our colors covered while playing our double hand disruption next turn. I think that's pretty powerful for us. Architects of Will. That's a bunch of Curator of Mysteries. I'm jealous of your love of Death Shadow. Allows you to jam it forever and always enjoy it. I mean, I definitely like playing other decks as well occasionally, but at the end of the day, I pretty much always find myself like coming back to Shadow. It's just an archetype that never feels boring to me. Petty Theft Ragavan. Rude. Their hand is 2 Curators, Architects of Will, and an Unknown. I can play Stoneforge Mystic decks off stream. Haven't gone that far yet. Are we casting our opponent's Brazen Borrower? We have lethal next turn if we do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. It's our plan now. Enjoy Control, but I feel like I need to try new things here and there. I wish I was more dedicated. I don't think you have to force yourself to like play an archetype or a deck that you're not feeling at that moment. I think it's fine to take a step back and just like play what you feel like playing that day. Like for me, it's kind of if I play something else, there's a good chance that it just makes me want to play Shadow more. Alright, did you draw exactly a Violent Outburst? Did not. If that's the case, we're gonna deal our 6 damage here. So I'm gonna deal the 6, and then Lightning Bolt on their upkeep. We're getting technical, it's correct, because if they have a Force of Negation, they could Force of Negation now and then untap and have something to kill us. But if I go to their upkeep, then they have to spend a bunch of mana to stop this. Guess what I mean is that you're like a one-trick in League, and I envy that consistency. Is a one-trick a compliment, a one-trick pony? Isn't that like saying I can't play anything else? I'm bad with every other deck that's not Shadow. Like, hey, you're okay with this deck. You're shit with everything else, but, you know. Kidding, by the way. For me, I think it's just like, I enjoy exploring the archetype, and I feel like every league I play with Shadow, I can see a new interaction, or I can learn something that I didn't know before, and I find that enjoyable. Like, if I found another deck that that kind of grabbed me the same way, I'd probably just double up content. And honestly, I've been really liking the Rogues deck. It's been really fun. Like a nicer, less narcissistic Brian Cook. Never heard such of a wonderful compliment before. I'm going to be a little greedy here and try to double up mana for next turn. So I can, like, Thoughtseize plus Void Mirror. If you ever have a bad day of Magic, you can always just play something in the tourney practice lobby to make everyone else feel worse. That's true. You can go into the practice lobby with, like, mono purple Tron, and people in there will think you're a god among men. No! No! Grief. Alright. Guess that makes me feel a little bit better. What are they drawing into? Outburst off the top. So does that mean I need to aggressively iteration for... Or no, they're just going to add it to their hand? Heck yeah. Thanks, opponent. You the real MVP. Have 3. And they get to grief trigger after this. They have the 3rd land. They've got all the pieces. My play here. Any reason to Expressive Iteration? Like, I can't hit anything off the iteration that matters. So all I can do is let them cast their Living in this turn and try to rebuild after grief. Let's see. I kind of feel like it's like preferring a certain chess opening. Yeah, maybe the first 6 moves of the Nadorf, Sicilian, or whatever are the same, but there's countless variations from there. That opening leads to certain fun themes and interesting gameplay. That's a good way of looking at it. Absolutely a good way of looking at it. Triple Living in Searchers. I think I'm changing anything. Plan was good. The grief kind of wrecked it. Honestly, how many ways do they have of getting grief active? I hadn't really thought about that. They've got actual copies of Living End. They've got other copies of Grief. And they've got, what's it called? Architects of Will. Is that it? And Street Wraith, you're right. Good call. The seal really needed in the main. I think the seal's been really good. It's impressed me in the other lists that I've played it in. I think it's a very good card. Steel Rain first. Alright, so I think that I'm just going to Inquisition this turn and plan on like holding Flusterstorm, and then I can Expressive Iteration next turn. Riverwinder down. But like, Seal is extraordinarily good against things like Urza's Saga, good against Sanctifier on Vec, great against Murktide Regent. Go. Head. Alright, Tarmogoyf's a good hit. We go Tarmogoyf to hand, Unholy Heat to the bottom, Watery Grave to exile. Shock in the Watery Grave. Tarmogoyf down. That bumps up our clock by a good bit. Not having a Void Mirror is actually pretty nice here. Living End, Flusterstorm. Alright, so before I tap any lands, what can this get for me? Blood Crypt. So if I tap Steam Vents, Watery Grave, I can't get Drown in the Loch. I can get Breeding Pool. Be able to drown if I find one. We'll put a Drown on the bottom, Bloodstained Mire to exile. Alright, so this cannot get Breeding Pool, so I'm not playing the Bloodstained Mire. We'll go ahead and fetch and shock just in case they've got a violent outburst. I don't want to fetch and have them be able to cast something in response. Drawing into a Grief. So, funnily enough, I could cast the Grief. I think I'm better off just like sitting on Drown in the Loch. This Tarmo may need to try Grixis Green. I think it's got some play to it. Like, I'm not going to go and say, oh, it's the most consistent variation of Shadow or anything like that. But, like, Tarmogoyf is just able to close out a lot of these matches so much quicker than something like just Ragavan or Dragon's Rage Channeler is. Like, instead of hitting for chunks of 2, getting to hit for 5. Pretty nice. Alright, OP, what you got? Why not Scourge? Because Tarmogoyf is just something that you always get to have access to turn 2. Like, I can just always play out a Tarmogoyf on turn 2. Scourge, it's not always going to be live, and that can be a big liability. Guess we're casting an Architects of Will. Maybe it keeps them from drawing into something relevant. Yeah. Yeah. Architects of Will, why are we running this? We need to be running 4 Architects of Will in all of our decks from now on. It's too good. Ban it in Modern. People scoop to it left and right. Miss my boy Hex Drinker. RIP was a good run. Hex Drinker still got a lot of play to it, but it did get a lot worse when Prismatic Ending got introduced to the format. That being said, it was the card that, like, people thought was gonna get completely removed once Skyclave Apparition came in, and it still survived. But Prismatic Ending's kind of like nail in the coffin of it. And obviously it's worse in formats where, like, Teferi is more popular. GG, screw those decks. Might be a bit harsh. Alright, OP. What is it that you have got going on over there? Let's get down a Channeler game, or turn 1. I can go like second Channeler, Thoughtseize next turn. Obviously a lot of things might change depending on what they do. So it's Rhinos. Alright. So the game plan against Rhinos is almost the exact same as against Living End. Thoughtseizing first, so if they have something that can kill my Dragon's Rage Channeler, I can deal with it before I play the Channeler. Now they've got Mari Command, Petty Theft. So we're going to play the Channeler here off of a Stomping Ground. I want the Steam Vent. The Steam Vent is safe. Give me the second blue source so that if I find Drown or Expressive Iteration, I can do both. Then playing out the Channeler here. Because if my opponent wants to kill it, they're going to need more than just the Prismari command. If they want to Petty Theft it, go right ahead. Negation, you got it. Shadow here. Not bad. We get a little triple spell action. Do I want the extra blue or do I want the extra green? Extra blue. Here's a shadow. I played your Sultai Rogues list and felt pretty good. Added a Noggin Whack, and that card was insanely good. Noggin Whack is the Prowl Surgical. Is that right? Or am I making that up? Let's see. Card. Rebel Sorcerer, Rogue, Prowl. Oh, the Prowl, sort of like a Prowl, God, what's the name of it? Fury me. Very nice. Am I trading with a Fury? Add Luris. Play Seal of Removal. Then I can trade with the Fury here and Luris replay it. They've got one card in hand and then the Brazen Borrower in exile. Felt like him in Modern. Whatever happened to Whispers of Emrakul? Wasn't that the card that everybody wanted to be like him for a while? So Bolt gets a lot worse because it's like never killing a Rhino. But Unholy Heat can kill Rhinos. Seal always kills Rhinos. That. Like, I want to focus on trying to interact with Rhinos before they come down, but... Wait just a second, I like that card. I know there was a period where we played a lot of Traverse Shadow, and everybody was like, Whispers of Emrakul, Whispers of Emrakul. You gotta play Whispers of Emrakul. This hand's so good if I see second land. Alright, where's a coin to flip? Coin. I know there's some quarters in here somewhere. Alright. So, heads, we keep it. Tails, we throw it back. Oh, drop the quarter. Survey says that's a tails. We throw it back. Always listen to the universe. When the universe tells you to throw the hand back, you don't question it. Alright. The opponent mold, so I'm just going to turn one Thoughtseize here. And I can decide if I want to turn to, like, dash a Ragavan, play a Shadow, or if I want to Sit back. Take a Bone Crusher because it kills said dashed Ragavan. So I really wanted to know if they were drawing a red card or not. Like if they were drawing a red card here, then I would be less inclined to play out the Shadow. Alright. Void Mirror is pretty good. Especially now that they're not drawing the Brazen Borrower. Fire off the top. I want extra of. Grave. Oh, perfect. I was wanting to play a bad 4-color Shadow list this Friday. Well, let me tell you about my specialty. It's actually not great 4-color Shadow lists. I've got them literally all over the place. That's not a force of negation. I know their hand is a Fury, a Gemstone Cavern, 2 unknowns. They can't evoke a Fury with Void Mirror out. I've got 10 damage presented for next turn. Ice my Shadow. I think I'm just gonna let this resolve. Alright. Temur Rhinos. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Duo. Counter draw land easy. That would be the big brain play. Just like counter what you don't want to deal with, draw the lands you need on time. Never have any trouble whatsoever. Also played a Tyrant Scorn in the Sultai list. Seemed decent. The one that just like bounces something or... What is it? It's not bounce or counter. Is it bounce or kill? Yeah, destroy a little dude or bounce. Is Drown in the Loch not just like better? Or is, I mean, I get that this is like an addition to four drowns, I'm assuming, but seems kind of meh. Like it's trying to be a 5th drown, but it's just nowhere near it. Alright. Good against Murktide. Sure. I feel like you could just run Seal of Removal, though, if you really cared about Murktide. Ooh, burn. All right. Just taking a... Dude, am I just taking Swift Spear to save, like, the 1 point of damage? Through a Lava Spike. Tyrant's Corn, aka Tyrant's Corn, aka Dunk in the Lock. Prime Pickings, why not look at their first card? So I was planning to and did, but I want to do it on their upkeep in case they are a Thoughtseize Inquisition deck. If I do it on my turn and they are an Inquisition Thoughtseize deck, they just get a free opportunity to take that card, where I don't gain anything by cracking the bauble on my turn because I can't play that card. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just downside that if it's a good card, they can take it. Killing off that Channeler because I don't want them having the chance to just like scry for more lands right away. I mean, it would help you look at their top card before you Inquisition. It's strictly 50-50. Like, either I'm opening the card up to a discard spell, or I'm getting more information for the Inquisition. Like, it's not a big percentage jump either way. It's just picking what you wanted to play around. And I chose to play around my opponent having discard instead of the Inquisition getting extra information. Yeah, no problem. Alright, so I can't Thoughtseize or we die. Searing Blaze is pretty dead for them right here. He really didn't want to attack with the Channeler. Really did not. That's bad for us. Now they can do everything. Well, hitting all of our shock lands there, not being able to get a blue source, not do much for us that game. Their EEs are coming in, Fluster Storms are coming in. This is like the kind of matchup where I would much rather have Abrupt Decay over Assassin's Trophy. Do I want to trim Ragavan or do I want to trim each? Yeah, Trophy's not good against burn, but it is good against like Tron and stuff. And we ran Abrupt Decay last league, which would have been great in this matchup. But we're running Trophy this league, and it's very subpar. Alright, so they still haven't seen any blue out of us. Every burn player loves their deflecting palms. It's like, you don't understand it. Wins matches left and right. Deflecting, so good. All right, trying to bait the bolt on me. No bolt my face. Yeah, I played Is It Phoenix before I played Shadow. I was bad, and local burn player always got me with Palm. So Palm's just like, or Deflecting Palm's just a card that you never have to play into if you don't want to play into it. Like, you can always just sit back and, like, not attack if you don't want to. I assume this has got to be Suspend Rift Bolt. Punish for not getting the red source. Make him send a burn spell at Luris because it's not a burn spell at my face. Like, if I don't play the Luris and he finds a way to deal damage to me there, then I'm just like getting myself in a really bad position. Unfortunately, he wants to keep drawing lightning bolts and 1-mana burn spells. So, that's my red mana. Assuming he's going to try to bolt the Ragavan. Once all burn player attempt to Boros Charm a Worm Coil to give it double strike and then Deflecting Palm it. I'm no expert, but I feel like that doesn't work work the way they want it to. Isn't it just the next Reader gains double strike, yeah, and then Deflecting Palm's just the next time, so like the first strike damage, it does it back, and then the second strike, they get to deal the damage and gain the life back. Heck yeah, we can play that. Correct, OP. Boo, Inspiring Vantage, boo. Just countering this. Use Lava Spike. They've used Bolt. They've got a... So we need this iteration to start finding us, like, ground in the locks and stuff. Or, like, Shadow plus, what's it called? And Autumn, Exile. Looking pretty dead here. Got you on the hydrate. All right. That one was rough. Just needed to see if they top deck the Bolt on turn 2 to kill our Shadow. Did we have a way to lose life at that point? Because if we could have had the Shadow survive there, then we definitely would have closed things out before they could kill us. But that's only if we had a fetch land at that point to grow the Shadow up to a 4/4. And I can't remember if we did. I'll have to go back through and watch to see if we did or not. Raged Furball. Okay. Pretty okay hand. Slightly less okay against Tron. Yep. All right, so Tron land, second Tron land off the top. You have the tower. You're just gonna, like, show it to me. Very clearly natural Tron if they've just played Tron land, go. Wooded foothills on top. Particularly interested in that. Want to find a Thoughtseeds. Nope. We'll scoop to natural Tron. Because I've got literal nothing going on. Do we have any chance of beating a Karn the Great Creator? I guess if they grab something stupid, maybe we can. Count as something stupid. We go bolt the ballista. They ping the Ragavan. We unholy heat the Karn. No, we can't use treasure. That's right. That's fine. Alright, so just attack it, Karn. Holy heat. That's another Ragavan. Alright. What you got, OP? We had the natural Tron. Guess if you exile a Ragavan, I can bolt it. I guess we can play out for the chance that they have literal nothing else in hand. They actually have nothing else in hand. Would be absolutely hilarious. Let's go Seal. Horus. Ragavan. Now, if they take up Blast Zone and go to Blast Zone on 3, I can seal my Luris and save it. Or decisions don't matter. Guys, remember that brief period of time when we thought we had a chance? Pepperidge Farm remembers. So I need to find an unholy heat. If that's the case, let's just go for it. This is our first or second league. This is the second. We went 3-2 in the first one. I wonder what their opening hand was. Just like Natural, Tron, Blast Zone, Karn the Great Creator. Let's see if these Assassin's trophies this time around are enough to get us over the hump. I guess the big brain move would be to keep a void mirror in the side, so when we Ragavan hit them and take their Karn the Great Creator, we can play it and go get our void mirror. I don't think this hand's doing it. Right. This hand is solid. All right. Now the question is, how many hate pieces is it gonna take to get us across the finish line? Absolutely the question now. Get pool. Am I just casting that for the sake of casting something? Like, I can do that. Why not? I can do that and I can still get or cast a still cast an Alpine Moon. And I probably just want to name Blast Zone. All right, opponent. No. No. You Yavamaya. We're playing this, right? I don't want a Flusterstorm. Who's the Tron deck now, opponent? Have E Spell Bomb. We could like minus this for a Spell Bomb just to draw a card. Pretty funny. I can Assassin's Trophy the Yavamaya, but they just get to go get a basic forest off of it. Touche, opponent. Touche. That's pretty funny. Oh man, we are the Tron deck now. It's gonna draw step, start trophying things. No, no, draw step, crap. God, if they have something here to punish me, I'm gonna be pissed. Trophy in response to this. Supposed to draw step that trophy, but has accidentally passed through draw step. Alright. So can we figure out why we're not running 4 copies of Karn the Great Creator in our deck? Seems like it'd be pretty good right here. So I can get steam vents. Alpine Moon naming. All right. On is what you would call active. Cannot Assassin's Trophy off current land configuration. I'm casting. Why didn't we play Ragavan first for a situation kind of like that? I wanted to have the hate piece down on turn 1 in case they did have interaction. Unfortunately, they did. Expedition map makes things pretty awkward. Get Karn off the board. Add Luris so that we can Luris back Alpine Moon next turn. Assuming this is going to be mapped for a blast zone. Not. Oh no, I really need you to not have anything this turn. That's not having anything. Yep. Alright. Tron doing Tron things. Always be the bane of my existence. Bringing Shadow back to degeneracy. Am I? Is this considered degenerate? I feel like Drown in the Lock and Expressive Iterations are very fair cards. Synergistic, actually. No more Scourge of the Skyclaves. I mean, Scourge is like the card I've hated the most in Shadow for a while, but it's kind of been necessary. So if I get an opportunity to make Shadow work without Scourge, I'm kind of happy. I don't know if Ragavan's quite what I want yet, but been better than I've seen it in previous leagues. Previous leagues, it's been like actively bad for me. This league, or these leagues, it's been like acceptable. Handler croaks up. Handler it is. Card was bannable before Modern Horizons 2. Was it bannable before Modern Horizons 2? I don't think it was anything like that. It was good, but it certainly wouldn't put it in the bannable camp. I do think that right now there's like a lot of decks that just aren't dealing any damage to themselves, and Scourge can be a big liability in those kind of matchups. Like, if you sit down for a league and you play against all Amulet Titan and Tron and Mono White Hammer Time, like, Scourge looks really, really bad. That's a lot of what we're trying to solve by adding, like, Lightning Bolt to the deck. Or not Lightning Bolt, adding Tarmogoyf. Recomponent out with our 4 colors. I'm just gonna add Luris to my hand this turn. Watery Grave is fine. I know he's just sitting on Drown in the Lock, so if I get to like time walk him on turn 2 to add Luris, deal. Easily bannable post Heliod Prowess ban, given a year or two, but now Modern Horizons 2. Ditching. Also Drown. Good draw. Iteration. Find our second land. Let's go. Channeler to hand. Thoughtseize to the bottom. Bloodstained Mire to exile. Play Mire for turn. Inquisition, so we can attack our opponent's Drown in the Lock. Now, do I just want to play Shadow? Yes. Guess this is a pretty ingenuitive deck, except the Ragavan. I mean, it's just like taking some of the good parts of Grixis and some good parts of Jund and throwing them together and seeing what sticks. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's anything special. Just like trying to do things a little bit differently. And maybe we end up stumbling across something that works. The opponent Croxes, I ditched the Dragon's Rage Channeler. And now I've got Unholy Heat to kill their Croxa. I can start attacking. I've got Drown in the Lock up. I don't think it's worth it to fetch and shock and give my opponent a chance to block. Certainly don't want to fetch and shock with like double bolt known in their hand. Because they just top deck like an Inquisition or a Thoughtseize. They can just take my Drown and double bolt me. I'm just like dead in the water. So their hand is bolt unknown. Luris, sure. Add Luris while holding up double bolt. Let's get Tarmogoyf down. Say go. I've got 2 lethal threats and a Drown in the Lock. Not dead to like bolt Croxa trigger. Luris bolt, unknown. What do you got? Luris blocking the shadow does leave them at 1. And gets them closer to Croxa, so I do need to be careful of that. So I just let this resolve. And if they go to cast Croxa from the yard and make me discard, I can ditch the Luris and they die. You probably got a Drown in the Lock for my Drown in the Lock. Never mind. Spellbomb's great. Pretty good. Flusterstorm's an option. Any of those are reasonable. I can just do like straight 7 for 7. Like good enough. They had a turn where they had the opportunity to just like fetch up a tapped land end of turn and didn't, which makes me assume that it's a shadow mirror and not just like Grixis Luris. Like they fetched and shocked end of turn. I do like kind of want to play around my shadows being bigger than their shadows. Just a tad. Or at least comparably sized. Opponent put me on the play. I love to see. I think it gets like a little bit worse in these matches now that cards like Ragavan and Dragon's Rage Channeler exist. But I don't think it's bad. I kind of like it in a situation like this where I have access to Tarmogoyf and they don't. So I can play out like a reasonably sized Goyf that doesn't just die to a lot of the common removal right here. Obviously, they can have Fatal Push, but like Goyf not dying to Bolt or Unholy Heat is very solid. Goyf, you got it. We can hit like a hand disruption spell. think I'm just gonna leave that one in exile. You can stay away. That's pretty funny. And what we're saying here is a lot of the benefit of adding the blue to Jund in this case. We just get like a lot of this late game draw that Jund typically doesn't have. Cards that are just getting better and better as the game goes on. Cards that essentially let us pull back ahead. Alright. Cast your iteration. We've got a explosives to hand. Mire to exile, or Catacombs to the bottom, Mire to exile seems fine. Play that out. Mana efficient. Go. So if I kill the channeler, it turns on delirium. Let's just play Goyf and pass. Hold up all of my interaction. They could go for like a desperation unholy heat here and try to kill the Tarmogoyf by flipping over like a creature. Good one. So they did have the unholy heat. So I could take the heat, crack the EE, attack in for 5, holding up Drown in the Lock. So if they go to like double bolt the Tarmogoyf, I can drown the second bolt. If they go to drown the Tarmogoyf, I can drown the drown. Now they're kind of priced into like needing to double bolt this Goyf. Not sure how much I like that one. They're playing to end the game next turn. Go. Bobble hand. Goyf to the bottom. Delta to exile. Ragavan. Bit of an annoying one. What did I see off the top of my library? Saw Ragavan of my own. Ragavan is the pinger getting there. Let's see, what could I have done differently? Like not attacking with the Tarmogoyf, but that just seems wrong. Taking a bolt instead of the unholy heat. There are a few lines in there I probably could have taken differently. Maybe I should have just been like okay with them bolting or unholy heating the Tarmogoyf. Alright, we're gonna need the second land pretty badly. Round my my bolt here. Gonna work out how you want it to. I think they should probably just drown my channeler. Seems easy. Terminate Soul God Lantern. Take terminate. They did put a card back on top of their library. But I've got Shadow next turn, plus Spell Bomb, so I can cut off their heat from killing my Shadow. Bobble, got it. No way you're about to main phase draw a card off this. Now, do I want to play the Shadow, hold up the Spell Bomb, or do I want to play the Shadow, hold up the Drown in the Lock? I think Spell Bomb. Do I think Spell Bomb? Soul Guide Lantern can't hit their own graveyard. Yeah, I want a Spell Bomb. Means I play it pre-combat so that maybe Dragon's Rage Channeler flips over something I don't need. That. Now I get to play out Shadow, hold up this Spell Bomb activation. Next turn I can play Channeler, hold up Drown in the Lock. Yep. Still doesn't have Delirium. Roxa would be pretty good right here. Shadow of his own. Okay. Was this a Shadow plus a Drown in the Lock, or is it just a Shadow? Lightning Bolt my chain. See what you do with Channeler first. Keep on top of the Channeler. Gonna kill the Shadow while I can. More action. Well then. Touché. Alright. Kept the card on top last time. Assuming they're going to keep it on top again. I need to no value pop this. Because I don't want them untapping with Unholy Heat able to kill either of my guys. Operations good. They flip over blue to Delta. Bolt what they put to that's rough. Iteration into land terminate. So I need to hit like a terminate off the top of their library or another shadow. Another shadow doesn't do it. Well, good. Yes. Justice. That's pretty funny. Ragavan OP. Didn't they have you dead if they just took it? If they just took what? Like took another attack? What part are they taking? Alright. What do we think of the second league there? 20th land did feel a little bit better. I'll probably stick with that for a little while. And the sideboard, Assassin's Trophy was weird. Like, we liked it against Tron. Didn't like it against the Burn match. So, hit or miss on that one. Flusterstorm was fine. EE was fine. Void Mirror would be better if Tron didn't get Yavimaya. Your Darcy attack would have made their shadows 9/9s, and they had 2 removal spells. Well, at the moment, they didn't have 2 removal spells. They had a Expressive Iteration on top of their library, and they had an Unholy Heat in hand with no Delirium. So they couldn't kill my shadow on the backswing. So it would have been like a lot of ifs on their turn. Like maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. But just not a lot of certainty. Yeah, they had iteration to determinate. Overall, I think the deck felt good. There's still a lot of tweaking to be done. Like somebody suggested before the league started, seal of removal could be cut. I could maybe see that. There's just like a few little spots where the deck feels awkward. Like it can't function off one land. We went over that a few times. So we need to figure out if we need to play like a 20, keep the 20th land or not. And I think I'm going to. Seal of Removal could be like the 4th iteration, maybe. In the board, Ancient Grudge might be a little much against the artifact decks, and this trophy slot I'm still wondering about. Maybe I need to find room for like Kozilek's Return, but I don't have any definitive directions to go with the list just yet. Still kind of figuring that part out. Let's see. There. All right. Always feels like 4 iteration is too much if you want to be a kind of aggro deck. Yeah, but at the same time, like, iteration's the card that's letting us keep up with a lot of other decks as we go into like the mid to late game. All right, why is... There we go. And I feel like that might be necessary. I don't love it, but it's kind of where we started. Like, if we're going to try out this whole 4 or 5 color fire design thing, then we don't want to just be continuing the train of running the same cards every league and not trying to stay behind. This is more aggressive than the other ones. I do agree with that. You're trying to close out the game quicker. So maybe Expressive Iteration is one we need to look at, but we do need to start with trying the card to see if it's like where we want to be or not before we just assume that it's not and move on.